Sometimes the people we love the most become silent, and when silence appears between two hearts, our mind starts creating painful stories. Maybe they stopped caring, maybe the love has faded, but sometimes silence is not distance. Sometimes silence is sacrifice. High in the mountains, there was a small, peaceful village. The air was clean. The wind carried the smell of trees and wet soil. Life there was simple. The houses were built on the slopes of the hills, far from each other. Every family lived quietly, doing their own work. Farmers grew crops, some people kept animals, and some made small handmade things. The forests around the village felt friendly. Deer often walked near the fields. Peacocks opened their colorful feathers in the morning sunlight. Humans and nature lived together peacefully. But the village had one problem. Between the village and the city, there was a wide river. The water moved calmly, but it was deep and powerful. Years ago, the villagers had built a bamboo bridge across the river. That bridge was very important. Children used it to go to school. Some people crossed it every day to go to work in the city. And when someone became sick, the bridge was the only way to reach the hospital. For many years, it worked well. It was not very strong, but it was enough. On the top of one hill stood a small wooden house. No neighbors nearby. Only one couple lived there, Cameron and his wife, Sonia. Cameron was about 40 years old and worked as a wood craftsman. Every day he shaped pieces of wood into beautiful things: chairs, tables, small toys for children. Sonia often helped him. They worked together, cooked together, and spent quiet evenings watching the mountains turn golden during sunset. Their relationship was calm and full of care. Many villagers secretly wished their marriage could be like Cameron and Sonia's. One day, Sonia shared beautiful news. She was pregnant. Cameron's eyes filled with happiness. From that moment, he became even more careful and loving. But life in the mountains can change quickly. Soon the rainy season arrived. Heavy rain fell for many days. The river slowly grew stronger. The water rose higher and higher. Then, one morning, the villagers heard a loud cracking sound. The old bamboo bridge had collapsed. The river had destroyed it. Suddenly, the village was cut off from the outside world. Children could not go to school. People could not go to work. Food from the city stopped coming. And when someone became sick, there was no way to reach the hospital. Fear slowly spread through the village. For Cameron, the situation was even more frightening. Sonia was pregnant. Soon she would need medical care, but now the river had no crossing. Every day, Cameron walked to the riverbank and sat under a large tree. He stared at the flowing water, thinking deeply. Days passed, then weeks. Slowly, Cameron became quieter. He stopped talking much. He stopped smiling. Sometimes he even forgot to eat. Inside his mind, there was only one thought: how can I help my wife and save my village? But Sonia didn't know what was happening in his mind. From her side, everything looked different. The man who once cared for her every moment had become distant, silent, cold. She began doing everything alone, bringing water, cooking meals, taking care of the house. And every night, a painful thought came to her heart. Did Cameron stop loving me? One morning before sunrise, Cameron picked up his carpentry tools and quietly walked toward the forest near the river. From that day on, he left every morning and returned very late at night, tired, covered in sweat. When Sonia asked where he had gone, Cameron stayed silent. Weeks passed like this. The villagers were worried about food and travel. The river still had no crossing. No one knew what Cameron was doing. Then one evening, children playing near the river began shouting loudly. The whole village ran toward the riverbank, and there they saw something surprising. Floating on the calm water was a large wooden boat, strong, wide, beautifully built. The villagers stood there in shock. Now they could cross the river again. Now they could reach the city, the hospital, and bring food back to the village. But no one knew who had built the boat. That same night, Sonia suddenly felt strong pain. It was time for the baby to be born. Cameron quickly helped her into the boat and rowed across the river in the quiet night. Hours later, in the hospital, their baby boy was born. For the first time in many weeks, Cameron smiled again. A few days later, they returned to the village. As their boat reached the riverbank, Cameron and Sonia saw something beautiful. The entire village was waiting there. Men, women, and children had gathered to welcome them. By now, everyone knew the truth. The silent man who disappeared every day had been working alone in the forest, piece by piece, day after day, building the boat, not only for his wife, but for the entire village. Even the villagers who once doubted Cameron came forward to thank him. Sonia stood beside him quietly. Tears filled her eyes. She finally understood. Cameron had never stopped loving her. He had simply been loving her in silence, through effort, through sacrifice, through action. Sometimes love does not speak loudly. Sometimes it builds something meaningful, quietly, patiently, for the people it cares about. From that day, Cameron became the village boatman. Every day he helped people cross the river. Life slowly returned to normal, and the river that once separated the village became a path that connected everyone again. Sometimes silence is misunderstood. We think silence means distance, but real love is not always loud. Sometimes real love works quietly in the background, solving problems, protecting others, building hope. Because sometimes silence is not absence. Sometimes silence is where love lives in its purest form. If this story touched your heart, remember one simple truth. Not every silence means someone stopped caring. Sometimes someone is silently fighting a battle just to make life better for you. For more meaningful stories like this, subscribe to Eliza Bethell's Tales, because sometimes a simple story can gently change the way we see life.